In this video I'm going to show you how I'm going to draw a simple L-shaped kitchen using the Mozaik version 14.1 cabinet design software. I've done a little bit of the work up front as far as drawing the room and getting some of the elements set in place, but in this video we're going to focus on setting the cabinets and making the presentation ready for the client. So I'm going to walk through the settings here real briefly. Just to show you what we got going on here. So this is the door style we're using. This is what we've called it. I have all the doors and drawer fronts already set up for this job, and you can just basically change them by clicking on the name here and pulling different door styles out of the library or building your own. The outside and inside and panel profile information here is just the tooling numbers we use to produce that door style. And then we have our handle selection for the walls, base, and drawers, and this is the hinges we're going to be using for this job. In this case here it's a 1/2 inch overlay. It's important to have the hinges selected because they will show up on your bill of materials. Drawer and tray boxes, we're using the drawer CNC dovetail. This gives a really nice cut list, and especially in version 14 now you can actually edit the dovetail details to get more an accurate cut list. In this case here we're using the Bloom 563F tandems because we're doing a 3/4 inch thick drawer box. And again, these here are also crucial to have these selected to make sure they show up in your bill of materials. End and back panels, these are in case if you don't want just the flush end, if you want more of a decorative end, you can actually set up a door style or to match your existing door style for using on your end panels. So here we also have Highland Falls. The only difference here is that these doors do not have an outside edge, and then we have different size styles and rails depending on their application. Materials, this is basically the material templates that are used for the doors, drawers, cabinets, and then the edge banding status or the edge banding profile. We're not doing tops in this one here, but if you were doing tops you could set up a profile for that as well, or a material template. Textures, this is anything that's related to the room but not the cabinets themselves. The only thing that would be related to the cabinet would be the hardware. Everything else here is isolated to rooms or to characteristics of the room. Mozaik version 14 had done a really good job of separating more of the textures so that way you have more control over the features. We're using face frame cabinets version 12 for the cabinet library that we're going to be pulling from, and I have a construction method set up here where it's for a 1/2 inch overlay and a dado construction with pocket screwed unfinished ends. Miscellaneous, the only thing I'm really concerned about here is the shelf pins, because these again will be counted in the bill of materials. When it comes to under cabinet lighting, I have a different way of doing that, so I'm not actually using the linear spotlights on this job. Comes to specs, these are 2 items already in the room. We've got the sink P-trap and then the window 2. And I have the window in the room basically to help establish as far as where the sink base goes. Alright, so here we've got the room set up. I've already got it drawn. I'm going to go real quickly here through the heights. So we've got room wall height 95 1/4, that's in the floor to the ceiling. The room soffit, this is the distance from the top of the cabinets to the underside of the ceiling. Base cabinets are doing 34.5, wall cabinets we're doing 38. Fridge cabinet we're doing 20 3/4, and the hood cabinet is 22 3/4. Now you might be wondering where I'm getting those numbers from. So I've actually made this calculator in Excel spreadsheet that basically I enter the ceiling height and then the soffit height. In this case it's 2.5, and then I tell it the location as far as where I want to mount the wall cabinet, how many inches off the floor, and then the same thing for the hood and refrigerator cabinet. So with all that data entered, it's telling me my tall cabinet's going to be 92 3/4. My wall cabinet's going to be 38, based at 54 3/4 of an inch off the floor, and the hood cabinet's 22 3/4, and the refrigerator cabinet is 20 3/4. Now this 54 3/4 is 3/4 inch higher than normal. Reason being is this job is going to have under cabinet lighting, so therefore I want to raise the cabinets up 3/4 of an inch and then add under cabinet light molding, which will be 54 inches off the floor. Alright, so here is the room layout. It's a pretty simple L-shaped kitchen. I'll do a quick 3D view here just to show you what we've got to work with. So this is the area here. So we're going to have a corner Lazy Susan 45 on the bottom and a 45 diagonal corner on the top. We're going to do a pantry cabinet, refrigerator, a base, a range, a drawer stack, some more base cabinet here, a dishwasher, and a recycling center, and a couple of wall cabinets around the top here as well. Alright, let's get into this. Okay, so I'm going to start placing cabinets in the room, and I'm going to try not to talk too much, but if I get into something that I want to explain a little more, I'll go into a little more detail on that particular product or subject. Otherwise, I try not to talk too much during this video. Okay, so one thing I'm going to do right now is I don't want to have another separate cabinet between the corner cabinet and the sink base cabinet. I'm going to have that as one cabinet. So I'm going to edit this cabinet. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to take a step back. We're going to take this cabinet and drag it over first. Alright, now we're going to edit the cabinet. I'm going to go into the face tab and I'm going to clear this. I'm going to put a center mullion in, and I want this center mullion on the right opening to be 33 inches. Then I'm going to split that horizontally once. I'm going to change that height to 5 inches, and I'm going to split it again vertically. I'm going to click on each one and change it to a drawer front. I don't want a drawer, it's a sink base. I'm going to change the bottom to a pair. And then on this side here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to split it horizontally once, change the height to 5 inches, and then we're going to make this a pair of doors. And I'm going to make this a pair of drawers on top, so we're going to split it once. There we go. I'm going to click on Automate Interior, which is going to put in some of the partitions. And if I go into the Interior tab, so I already got a center partition between the two openings. And I've got a partition here for mounting drawer hardware. So the sink side is good, but this side here we're going to add some pullouts. So I'm going to do this multiple split here. And we're going to do horizontal. We're going to do 3 equal sections. I'm going to change it from a divider type to tray. Now I've got 2 pullouts in here, and I'm just going to bring them down, get them close to where they would normally be. That sounds good. And another thing we're going to do is, if I look at a 3D view here, I want to drop this style to the floor because that's where the dishwasher is going to be. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go into ends. I'm going to change this to an unfinished end. I'm going to unclick notch. I'm going to run to floor. And you can see there now we actually have the style down to the floor. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do here is going to go into parameters. We're going to add a custom parameter to add a toe sweep on the right side. So if I go into other, I'm going to do an RT, click OK. I'm going to change that from 0 to 4.25. And now if we look here, we have a toe sweep that is going to meet with the front skin when the skin's installed. Save changes, click OK. We're going to take this cabinet right here, we're going to edit this one here real quickly too. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to take the toe, oops, not the toe, the ends, and we're going to notch to floor, unfinished is good. We're going to do this one here. They're going to put an applied door on the end here, so we'll do applied door. We're going to section it, This needs to be 2.75, and this bottom one here needs to be 8. We've made some minor changes in the past here. The reason we did that, now with changing that, the profile line for the bottom rail of the door lines up with the bottom rail of the end panel, and the top rail of the drawer front lines up with the top rail of the end panel. Click OK, and again we're going to add the custom parameter of the toe sweep. So we're going to do left and right, and that is 4.25. Oops, yep, 4.25. And again, if we look at the 3D view, you can see here we have our toe sweep, and somewhere along the lines we lost our hardware, but probably because I got it turned off. There we go. So again, this will actually have a toe skin in front of this, but right now, because the cabinet is not in the room, it's in the viewer, the toe skin is not there. Okay, I'm going to go add some more cabinets. When I get to something interesting, I'll talk more about it. Just wanted to point out that I moved this cabinet from 24 inches to 25.5 because the countertop is going to butt into the right side. So I always want to make sure that any type of a base cabinet where a countertop is going to butt into, that we're going to make the cabinet deeper than what the countertop is going to finish at. Typically, countertops are about 1.25 inches overhang. So in this case here, the countertop will be set back from the front edge about 1/4 inch. Even if they had 1.5 inch overhang, it'd still be flush and you would not have to polish that one end. So one thing I'm going to do here is, because of the under cabinet lighting, I need to change the bottom rail. At some point in time, I'll probably make a separate library that has a wider bottom rail for under cabinet lighting, but in this case here, we're just going to edit this. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that here. So we're just going to go to the face, I'm going to click on the bottom rail, I'm going to change that to 2.25. Because I need to add additional 3/4 inch, because we're going to cover up 3/4 inch with the under cabinet light molding. Okay, I want to show you one thing I'm going to do with this cabinet here. Right now, if I do a quick 3D view of this wall, this particular look is perfectly acceptable. But one thing I've been trying to do is kind of clean up our appearances a little bit as far as the clean lines. So one of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm going to change these doors here. Right now, when it's all said and done, by the time we put the under cabinet light molding on, and by the time we put the crown molding on a perfect world, we're going to have a 1 inch reveal all the way around. But right now, we actually have a 1 inch reveal and a 1 inch reveal. So the way we're going to fix that is we're going to take this cabinet above the microwave, we're going to change the doors to have a different overlay. Let me show you. So I'm going to go on the face, I'm going to click on the doors, and I'm going to go into adjust. Now these adjustments here are additional to what's already set up for. In this case here, it's a 1/2 inch overlay, but I want to go to 1.5 inch overlay. So I'm going to change the left from 0 to 1, and the right from 0 to 1, which is going to increase the overlay by 1 inch on the left and right. Now that I've done that, if I just do a quick look here, you can see here that our doors are left and right. Overhang or overlay with 1.5 inches, which is this is an 1.5 inch style here. But in order to make our hardware count correctly, we need to override our hardware selection. So in this case here, by default, it's a 1/2 inch overlay Bloom 38N. I need to select the 1.5 inches that I have set up here, and that will reflect on our bill of materials. So now this cabinet has a different set of hinges. So we're going to edit this cabinet here real quickly as well. We're going to do a couple things here. So first we're going to go in the shape and look at the top here. I want this end here to be an applied door. So if I click on that and I change the type from right end to applied door, I'm going to do a quick modification here. We'll click section. This top rail needs to be 5 and this bottom rail needs to be 4.25. If I do a quick 3D view, you can see here now that the bottom edge of the inside of the door lines with the bottom edge of the inside of the side panel. And then this one here will change shortly. I need to change this bottom rail from 1.5 inches to 2 3/4, and that'll line up here as well. Go to the face tab, change this here to 2.25, and quick 3D view. There we go. I'm going to do one thing here. This is something new that we've started doing here. We're going to go back into cabinet accessories, and I am looking for appliance skin. So if I go look at this wall here, right now when the dishwasher would go in, you would see this bottom corner on the left and right, just because of the recess on the dishwasher. So I don't want this cabinet or this cabinet to actually have a complete finished end. I just need something to cover the first 4 or 5, 6 inches, somewhere around there, just to basically hide the unfinished end of this cabinet. And this would also be too if you had something of a different species. For example, if you got a birch interior like what we have, but this exterior would be, say, something like oak or cherry or something, this wouldn't even stain up the same as the other species. So the way we fix that is I created a panel in cabinet accessories. I'm going to take it and just drag it in here, get it close, and now if I look at this here in 3D, I have a panel here, but setting it's sitting a 1/4 inch away because right now it's flush with the edge of the face frame on this side and it's too far back. So if I just take this window here, and we'll just kind of minimize that, and now if as long as it's highlighted, I'm going to outset this 18 inches. Okay, and then I need to change the location to 46.625. And now we have a skin here covering the side of that cabinet. And this we would put on in the shop and stain and finish it with the cabinet. But it's just one way to basically modify that edge so you don't have to make it a finished exterior or finished end. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, and we're going to come back and do some other stuff. Okay, I'm going to go through the under cabinet light on one cabinet, and then I'll do the rest of them, and then we're going to come back and talk about under cabinet panels as well. So the under cabinet lighting, I actually created a model in SketchUp. It's a pretty simple fixture. This is what it is. It just kind of mimics something that you would commercially find. It's about 2.5 inches deep, 5/8 tall, and then the length will vary. What I like about this one here is that I'm just going to drag it into the room here. Just going to drag it over. Is it works and behaves just like a cabinet. It works off of center. And that's what I really liked about this one here. And the way I size these, I just size this again just because it's a visual and I'm using it for light emittance. I make it 3 inches smaller than the cabinet itself, giving an 1.5 inch clearance on both sides. So in this case here, the cabinet's 27 5/8. I'm going to make this fixture 24.625. Now, realistically, finding a light fixture that's 3 inches exact, undersize of the cabinet, not likely. But again, this is just more so for the visual. Now, to center this underneath the cabinet, the easiest way I found is to click on the cabinet. Cabinet is 67 5/16. Click on that light fixture here again. I'm going to do 67.3125. There we go. I'm going to do an outset of 0.5 because we also have a 3/8 tile backsplash going on here as well. And then real briefly, I'm going to look at the properties. I've been messing with the properties a little bit. Light intensity is 0.1. That's good. And then, believe it or not, these colors actually mimic Kelvin temperature. I think this is 2700, 3000, 4000, 5000. And I think this one's, I'm not sure, but anyways, this one here is about 6,000, which is typical for most of them. But we can also do a 5, I think this is a 5,000, do a 5,000 as well. Long story short is I actually found a website on the internet that actually broke down RGB value versus Kelvin temperature for light color. Okay. So now that I have that, I'm going to do the same thing to the rest of the under cabinet lights. So we're going to have one light going underneath here, and then we're going to have one light going underneath here, and then one underneath here. Okay, we're going to talk about under cabinet lighting panels or under cabinet skins. I'm just going to go back here. I'm going to do a quick 3D. So if I look at the underside here, we have the unfinished end, and we take advantage of the underside for basically securing the face frame to the box with pocket screws. In this case, as you can see here. One of the things with that is it's kind of an ugly sight. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an under cabinet skin that's going to basically cover the entire bottom of the cabinet, including this bottom edge of the face frame and the bottom edges of the end panels. What's nice about this is when it comes to stain and finishing, you really don't have to stain anything because the under cabinet skin is going to cover that, and then the molding will cover that skin or that bottom panel as well. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go back into cabinet accessories, and if I go into, I created a product library here called under cabinet skins. I'm going to do this under cabinet panel. And again, what I like about this here is it behaves just like a cabinet. So I'm going to take it, I'm going to drag it into the room here. Alright, and 27 5/8. And clearance to left is 0, so we're good. So now if I just go back and do a quick 3D here, you can see now we have an under cabinet skin covering the bottom edge of the cabinet. Now I could have actually lowered my light fixtures a little bit because they would normally attach to that. This is also a really good way if you're doing puck lighting. It's a good way to have a nice clean install with flush mount. So like I said, ironically, or more than likely, the install, obviously the light fixture would be attached to the underside, but again, this is just for a visual purpose. Now the under cabinet light molding will cover basically 3/4 of an inch of this rail plus this 1/4 of an inch under cabinet skin. So I'm going to do that to the rest of the kitchen. We're going to come back and add some other stuff here. Alright, we're going to go and do the molding next. So I'm going to do the automatic mold for the crown molding. So just click on the crown mold. I'm going to select the one I want. Alright, it's starting to look like a kitchen now. Now we're going to do the under cabinet light molding, and we'll do some base molding quick, and then it looks like we got to edit a cabinet here. There's something going on with this one. For some reason the style's not going to the floor, but that's why I like to look at these in 3D, and this one's got to get modified as well. Alright. Alright, so this is starting to look just like the kitchen that we're aiming for here. Again, textures can be changed to whichever ones you want. There's a lot of preloaded textures in the library. You can import textures from the internet or any other source. The only thing I'll recommend is if you're importing, like for example, wood grain textures, you want to make sure that you get a texture that does not have any light reflectance on it. You want to make sure that the texture is very uniform from one corner to the other or across the entire surface. If you have a texture that has maybe a little bit of light reflection, maybe on one part of it, as this texture repeats itself, you will see that it'll go from light to dark, light to dark, light to dark, which you don't want. Now, one thing I wanted to point out here was this is where we add those skins to the side of the sink base cabinet and to the side of this recycling center here. You can see now how this is a finished look. Now, new in Mozaik version 14, one of the trainers was kind enough to actually develop the custom parameter to be able to add these 45-degree sweeps. Now, this is probably something that's probably dates back to maybe the 1990s and the 2000s. Some more of the modern looks don't have this. They may have more of like a recessed toe all the way around. But this is something that we've been doing for the last 25 years and people really like it. It's good for a lot of things, but at the same time when it comes to doing flooring or doing a reflooring, the flooring guys hate it, which I understand why. But we're all about as far as what the customer is looking for and making sure they're satisfied with what they're getting. So one thing I'll point out about automatic mold for base trim, if you have a room that has all inside corners, it works phenomenal. If you have a room that has outside corners, it doesn't miter the outside corners very well. So that's why I just find it's just quick to do it here as one continuous escape. Alright, let's have a look here. Final look. Alright, before we render it, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to save the job, which I recommend saving every few minutes. I'm just not good at it. Alright, so we're going to render this. I like everything I see here. I'm going to click render. So if you double tap on it or double click on it, it'll open up in your Windows picture viewer. And this is your rendering. This is exactly now what you can show your client. Now, I'm going to take this a step further. I can't do it on the computer because it's actually an app I have on my phone, but right now this is a PNG image, portable network graphic. So because my Windows system is operating in dark mode, where the window is here, that is actually the dark mode of the operating system. So if I was running in light mode, this would be white. So the nice thing about rendering these in a PNG is I have an application on my phone called InShot that I can actually put like a background here, like some trees or maybe like a street view or something. Then I can use this picture here as an overlay. One thing I'm going to point out is if you want to save this, open it up in your picture viewer, click on this, do a save as, and maybe as far as what you already named the view, if you want to rename it, now's your chance to rename it, then click save. Okay, so we went from this drawing to this one. This is the 3D cloud rendering, and now after I've taken this PNG image, this is what I've created using an app on my smartphone called InShot, which just allows me to use this as an overlay and have a background image such as this tree image here with a driveway. So overall this would be very acceptable, I think, for any client for the most part. I mean, there may be some clients that need more details, but all these images are customizable. So if a client comes to you and say, hey, I want to use this countertop, if you can find that texture online, you can import it and change the sizing of it so it repeats nicely. Same thing with the wood tones. Now paints are really easy because basically you can just grab that JPEG from like the paint supplier or the manufacturer and import that directly and change the sheen. When it comes to wood textures, a little bit, a little bit more tricky, but as I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, you want to make sure that the wood texture does not have any reflection on it. So if you have a texture, for example, like something like this here, where it's got a little bit of light reflection on it, that will not repeat very well. So you want to make sure it's almost like a flat wood texture, because you can add the sheen within the software. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little bit longer. I'm trying to speed through as much as I could, but I just wanted to share with you as far as how I draw a kitchen in Mozaik and the steps I go through. And the nice thing about this is all the details I've added, such as the 2 side skins here, the under cabinet skins, those are all part of the cut list because it's an actual material. So that was a nice thing, because when it comes to ordering the sheet goods and the board stock or board footage or whichever, that's all accounted for. So everything in this drawing will be on the cut list. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Questions and comments are welcome. Thanks for watching.